Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Due to the decline in popularity of cryptocurrency mining, GPU's prices are starting to normalize, so I thought it was as good time as any to talk about the Zotac Geforce GTX 1080 AMP Extreme Edition. Now, everything about the Zotac Geforce GTX 1080 AMP Extreme Edition is extreme, from its design and behemoth size to its performance. Once opening the box and removing the card, the experience was just jaw-dropping. My first impressions and thoughts had me shaking in my boots. I nearly dropped the card, to be honest. This card is even more impressive in the flesh, coming in at 325mm in length, 148mm wide, so be sure your current case can actually accommodate the product, and if it can't, I think it's time to upgrade that too. I don't think Zotac are taking any chances with heat and bolted on the most extreme cooler I have ever seen. The triple 90mm fan solution is sure to keep it nice and cold, and dubbed as Ice Storm. Each of the three fans feature double blades. The idea behind this is to eliminate the dead spot underneath the center portion of the fans, driving the concentrated cool air down and under into the vast heatsink below. These also utilize freeze tech, switching off until needed, which not only reduces overall noise but increases the lifespan too. As mentioned before, the Zotac Geforce GTX 1080 AMP Extreme Edition is a behemoth. The 2.5 slot design is apparent at first glance. As above mentioned, make sure you have 3 times PCIe slots free in your case and enough room to park a double-decker bus in. Powered by 2 8-pin connectors, it's no surprise to find out that it's covered in RGB lighting, which really does push this card even more to the extreme. But enough about its looks. How does it perform? Naturally, this card does come overclocked and is about the highest factory overclock you'll ever find on a GTX 1080. The base clock has been pushed from 1607 MHz up to a whopping 1771 MHz, with a boost clock of 1911 MHz. The GDDR5X memory is also overclocked at 10.8 GTS versus the 10 GTS stock, which many other factory overclock cards don't provide. Acer's has a card clocked at 1784 MHz to 1936 MHz, but with no GDDR5X overclock. The AMP Extreme also appears to be tuned to stay closer to maximum performance, no doubt thanks to its improved power delivery and cooling, and in practice I frequently saw the core clocks running at 2 GHz or more during the testing. In short, this card is designed to handle 1440p and 4K resolutions, and in many cases even pushing well beyond the typical display refresh rate. But as popularity of online streaming increases, I thought it would be more better fitting than to test all of the games at 1080p. So let's see how it performed.
these jokers off my point. Time to heal up.
30 seconds.
So close. Just hang in there.
Not dead yet.
Task yourself looking like a catalog model or a softcore porn star. That's where I come in. My name
It's over!
You inbred
Asshole's got a grenade!
Look awfully suspicious to show your customers some respect.
Ain't it a kingfisher? You're sorted for a necklace.
Do you have any idea who I am?
First, I give it a jest.
So currently down to £750 at the time of this video. I do think it's a little steep, but if you have that kind of money burning a hole in your pocket and this is the performance you need, then I think it may be worth the investment, even though the amp extreme is so massive that in a lot of cases can't even hold the card. There is definitely some distinct lag, about half an inch at the back of the card. Even with a hefty metal backplate, if I were leaving the GPU installed on a permanent basis, I'd be inclined to add some form of support just to make sure that the PCI slot on the motherboard doesn't get damaged over time, and to keep the card from resting on whatever expansion slot sits below. The last thing, even the colour scheme is nice, the huge sections of yellow in my opinion are very limiting compared to maybe swapping the yellow out for, say, white. At least then it will suit almost any build colour scheme. So with that said, the Zotac Geforce GTX 1080 Amp Extreme Edition gets a silver from me, because it's too big and the colour scheme isn't versatile enough for my liking. But if you don't mind that and the card is for you, then the link is in the description below. Well, that's all we have time for today in this video. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and feel free to hit that dislike button if you didn't, and why not subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.